What? Good YouTube, and welcome to the house. KONAMI has finally done it. 5 alternate formats that are already getting broken in by duelists here or there are problems being pointed out. KONAMI, I know you watch my YouTube channel, so I have a little constructive criticism, but I want to say this is a great direction overall for the game, and I am super excited to see how this plays out, especially with remote duels able to offer some of these. So let's read through their alternative formats. Sometimes your Yu-Gi-Oh! TCG community wants to duel, but would like to play with a twist. Up till now, the options have been limited. However, we are excited to announce that we have created some alternate formats for your duelists to enjoy. Alternate format events would run just like your weekly local tournament. Duelists would pay $5 to receive one OTS entry pack into your tournament. You would still need to run at least one advanced format constructed tournament each month to maintain your active OTS status, but adding these alternative format events to your tournament offering allows your duelists even more ways to play Yu-Gi-Oh! So basically they're saying we know Yu-Gi-Oh! Duelists want to play sometimes more than once a week, and they like GOAT format, they like planned format, all these retro formats. That's going to be the first offering. Or sometimes everybody at the locals is tired of a certain deck by a huge majority. They offer something for that. I do want to say though, to drive traffic for these events, KONAMI, I would consider unique pricing besides just OTS packs. OTS packs are great ways to get people in through the door, but what if you did something like, say, we want to really hype this one pass format, so we're gonna do Lost Art Don Zalug, but only for this format of locals for this month. That would be an awesome way to drive traffic in. You have a limited time, you have to play in this tournament to get one, and you get to experience and look at it. We probably aren't going to get higher level events like YCS's for this, let's be real. If anything, they'll end up as side events, but unique pricing to each one, that could be really a way to kick these off. Think about it, KONAMI. Just think. So let's go ahead and read through some of these. To make it easier for you, we have kept track of these events. We've updated the KONAMI game network with new event types for each alternate formats, so please select the correct one when sanctioning your tournament. Time Wizard format. The Time Wizard format is a way for your OTS to sanction retro format tournaments. The tournament setting will revolve around the rules and mechanics of the games as they were played during specific points in time. All that is required when setting up the tournament is the forbidden and limited list being used as the latest legal set. For instance, if Time Wizard traveled back into the US National Championship of 2005, the tournament would be using the April 2005 forbidden and limited list, and the legal set would be Dark Beginnings 2. So they're already saying, well, hey, Exarian wouldn't be legal for GOAT if you go this one specific way. They're straight up detailing that one huge issue with the 2005 list. So they're saying product legal up till here, cuts off here, and you run your list this way so that it's clear. They also specify basically that rulings would pinpoint to the card at the time. So your Raikou, you can destroy a card on the field is the current text, but in the past you can target a card. Raikou goes back and forth between destroy a card, target a card, select a card, those kinds of wordings, and you would be in the specific point in time for Lightsworn instead of having to vaguely guess the wording. Well, this was the most current form of Raikou, it said this on the card, it would be interpreted this way by the rulings. Also, that would mean priority is a thing you're going to have to learn to a degree, but going through past formats, it's going to help. You could go back to Toss format, the Eternal format, pick which part of the Eternal format it is. You can go to Plant format. This is great for the community, and locals can gauge the interest within there and fire off 8-man, 16-man, different tournaments on not their main constructed day and just be able to go where the communities wanted to go for a long time. This is awesome. KONAMI's been very straight and to the point, addressing all issues within this. Now, Heart of the Underdog. As duelists test their deck building skills, they often find that certain decks are more powerful than the rest. Currently, Drytron and Tri-Brigade decks are powerful. For Heart of the Underdog formats, OTSs determine the deck types that duelists aren't allowed to use at the event, such as Drytron or Tri-Brigade. Duelists then compete using less frequently used decks, following a more casual tournament where duelists can enjoy new and interesting card interactions and explore more fun archetypes than they normally do that don't make top cut in competitive events. Now, I could see one problem here. It's like everybody looks at Dave in the corner. He's been playing Mystic Mine Burn forever. We all want to ban Mystic Mine. Like, at locals, I am somebody that's heavily against Mystic Mine, but this kind of format could be used in an exclusionary, like, fashion. I get what it's for. What it's for is to prevent there ever from being an E-ban again, like how they E-banned, you know, Pepe, and they really hit it too fast. Cosmo was able to develop in that format. Mermails, there were other competitions. Domain Monarch was just taking off. I feel like Pepe was very powerful, but Cosmo was so underexplored. Or with Zodiacs and how locals in Japan actually ended up banning it from their place. It's to prevent any kind of tension or communal thing like that, again, where it offers another tournament. And I think they're trying to balance it by saying you still have to do one regular local per month. But I do have fears with this one specifically, and with how store owners can get talked into by a community of making somebody's deck useless. You want to watch out, I think, for this one, but it's still an interesting concept. To just ban these top decks. We're all playing this kind of stuff for this tournament and leveling the playing field a little. Common Charity. For Common Charity format events, duelists would need to build a deck using only common cards. So this format's been a little figured out. There's desk bots, there's Grin the Maju, and there's the Code Breaker Crazy Goki deck that a lot of people were on during the SEMO tournament. I took part in that Grin the Maju gang. This applies to all parts of the deck, the main deck, side deck, and extra deck. This is similar to the Castle Party Pegasus Challenge format, but restricts you just to common cards instead of allowing duelists to select the rarity over the deck. So again, I think that this format's a little bit figured out, but would like to see some breaking in of it, and we've been a while, you know, since that SEMO tournament and all the streaming community got together to try to figure it out, but this one, I feel like there's a certain lock of decks that end up good. Deck Master, based on the Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime arc when Noah Kaiba brought Yugi and friends into the virtual world to duel allowed duelists, definitely messing that up, to select a deck master to help them in multiple ways. Duelists begin each match by selecting a monster to serve as a deck master. The deck master begins each game outside of the deck, and any effects of the monster applied if the monster were face up on the field. So you are able to end up applying your effects as if it were on the field without it being on the field, which just creates an entirely toxic environment that needs some balancing immediately. Like Nateria Exterio can be your deck master just saying, yeah, a fusion summon this card, blah, blah, blah. Well, guess what? You don't have to use materials. While this card is face up on the field, negate any activation of spell and traps and destroy it. Or just a floodgate. That's my deck master. Or, you know, Last Warrior from Another Planet, which reads when this card is special summon, destroy all others. Well, that's not applying. Neither player can summon monsters, though. Just straight up. Neither player can, only set format. Yep, burn deck time. Burn deck time, lovely. So this format has a lot of problems out of the gate with monsters that can't even be negated or taken care of. But that does apply this as well. Duelists can normal summon the deck master to the field, ignoring any summoning requirements. Anytime they would be able to normal summon a monster, no tributes are required for high level monsters, and no materials are needed for fusion, synchro, Xyz, and links. I feel like they're going to have to balance this format, otherwise it's just going to be people playing Waking the Dragon targets / stuff like that. That's crazy, right? Rivalry of the Warlord format, as I understand it at the end here, is going to be pre-constructed decks by KONAMI at locals that locals should be able to build on hand, thus letting people try different strategies that maybe they feel like they've balanced their own kind of format, but also being able to hand people the decks will allow people to come in groups to locals and play something that isn't just basic entry, we had to buy these starter decks, there's a pre-made deck already here format. That is interesting, and depending on the locals, that'll be more or less balanced. Cool, and I think that's pretty awesome that you're basically renting the decks out in that system and format. Overall, I'm the biggest fan of Time Wizard format. I think it has the least amounts of problems. You're just going back in time, and you have everything specifically taken care of. I think the Deck Master format has the worst problems in terms of the effects being applied as if the monster's on the field. Common Charity, again, I could be surprised, but feels a little figured out. And Heart of the Underdog worries me just a little bit. I would love to see specific pricing for these events to get them fired off to see people in their Konami. That would be freaking awesome. But we'll wait and see. My worries come from stuff like Generation Duels. These actually had specific pricings, but they were only side events at YCSs instead of driven at the local level. I believe the local level is actually the most important level in terms of getting interest towards a larger event in the future, and we would see eventually this dwindle out to where people could just enter and not even play and get the playmat where people had bothered to construct decks for these different formats. I won the first ever Pendulum one, where everybody was trying to win the DM era one, and a lot of people were winning the Zexa one. I won the first ever Pendulum one, and I can say I sold some of these playmats for a pretty penny back in the day before they became a little more common. But yeah, Konami's made alternate formats before, and they've died out due to lack of knowledge or lack of interest. So I do hope Konami does something that creates more interest, that creates more people heading towards it. And my perfect example for the past formats is Don Zalug, Alter Art. Have them play that era. 2004 Chaos or something. Or, do different promotions, different playmats, anything that is at least specifically towards this. Thanks for watching today's video. What do you think of all the formats? Do you see certain ones broken in and just immediate problems with them? Are you excited for past format officially supported play? Do you think OTS packs are enough and that the community that's already there would decide? I think in the remote duel era, there's definitely different ways to connect people, and that's no problem there. But in individual, actual local scenes to drive traffic and get people playing, I think that's part of where this rose out of, right? But I really do want to see more put towards this than, yes, you can do it, and you can do it with what we already have. I would like to see a bit of a bigger push in the future. Thanks for watching, everybody. Please subscribe if you at least enjoyed the conversation. Like this video if you enjoyed it. And, man, I really am excited for the past formats the most out of all of these. I think that's the biggest news. I think that's why they led with it. But something a little Attack of the Giant card, even like Speed Duels have, because Speed Duels is a format they get a once-a-year update in product at this point. Not even once in a year and a half due to delays. I've seen Konami leave a lot of things out to dry, high and dry, and I'm hoping that doesn't happen with this, and that it's not the community that has to put their foot forward rather than Konami helping incentivize that on their own.